Perfect.
Yeah. Hola,
Hello.
people. It's the Shamanic Soul Sisters coming at you on April 4th, 4/4. Oh, look at that. It's a
Boy.
4/4 portal, and we didn't even plan this.
Nope. Nope. We were literally just sitting and riffing and talking about like life and how so many people forget that you have to put into action information that you receive. And you have to be your own player in your own game. Like you can't things are just going to come to you. That's some confusion about manifestation. But
Yes.
we want to share a story with you guys because I feel like a lot of people come to Maria and I with the limitless sessions where they don't like their job or they're not happy with some sort of relationship in their life. They have some attachment to something that literally doesn't serve them and is part of their old identity. And so it's very beautiful that this is Easter time, if you celebrate, because Easter is birthing something new. It's creation, and it's a lot of goddess energy and looking at what you've already planted and what do you want to grow. So this is a perfect time for this
I
random
know. Divine
video.
timing as always. And just it's funny because I just a couple weeks ago went through like a shift in identity and realizing where I had created new identities these last 2 years that I moved out of my very wounded marriage and had my own identity within that. And then I exit that as a conscious human, but while still being conscious, creating other identities these last 2 years. And it wasn't until I was met with an experience in my reality where my living situation is probably going to shift over the next few months and things, containers that I've been part of for the last 2 years, my role in those will be shifting, um, which is all divine and supposed to be happening right here, right now, as it is. But I would be lying if I said there wasn't some grief that comes with that, right? Because it's, again, I'm now grieving those old versions of myself that my mind had created and attached to. So as Sam and I were kind of just talking, like that comes up a lot in this evolving process because each time you kind of level up or dive into a new, deeper layer of thyself, you're also asked to release old identities of thyself. And so it's this kind of constant, like, grieving process while simultaneously embodying like newer versions of yourself. And it's a very fine line of like embodying these new versions, but also not attaching to any one aspect of who we are. And
Yeah.
Sam and I have talked about it. I think we talked about it actually in it's funny because we were talking about our podcast just a little while ago and how much information is in there that like we even haven't like fully gone back and listened to, which now I'm definitely feeling guided to do that this week. But I do remember one of our podcasts was all around identity. And it might have been the sacral chakra
Ooh.
one.
Ooh, I think so. There was
It
three.
was. Yep, because that was 3 episodes. And it's so funny because that's the one we've been talking about all day. Um, and I remember us talking about like specifically Sam and I and that talked about our identities as nurses and how the majority of people in the world, one of the biggest things we identify is our profession. Because when you think about it, it's where we spend a majority of our time on the every day to day and for an extended period of years. And that's why people, when they retire, kind of go through an identity crisis because they're no longer doing that role. So it's almost like, well, who am I if I'm not a nurse anymore? Who am I if I'm not whatever, right? And it's like we're still who we are, but these are just labels that we've created identities around, and it can be very disempowering if we stay attached to those versions of ourselves, especially as we're like all of us that are really like evolving kind of quickly. If we stay attached to those old parts of us, it's going to make the journey just more challenging to move forward with what our highest and best path is.
Yeah, because you continue to lose yourself.
Yep.
You
Yep.
continue to forget, not even forget who you are, like what excites you, right? That's the big question. What excites you? You don't even feel excitement anymore. And then you forget that you don't feel excitement anymore because you just continue to do the same repetitive thing that's not bringing you joy. It's not bringing you excitement. It's not bringing you fulfillment or pleasure. But you're like, this is all I know. So this must be all that there is. And Maria and I really wanted to hit record because I was like, dude, when we were both nurses, I didn't, one, never thought we'd be doing what we're doing now, owning a business, trauma, mediumship, energy work, all of this stuff, right? Never. And I was like, when I was working as a nurse, I dabbled into energy because I was miserable inside and I wanted to stay in the system I was in, but I knew that I needed to change something within me and of me to stay in that system because I worked so fucking hard to be in that system, to have the master's degree, to take care of other people. And it was like, that's a promising job. You'll always have a job as a nurse,
Yep.
like you're secure for life if you stay being a nurse. So there's all
Hmm.
these like default programmings. And I'm like, but I'm not fucking happy. So what needs to change if my physical job doesn't change because I actually enjoyed where I worked, but if my physical job doesn't change, oh, I need to change. And once I started dabbling into energy and learning all this whole other fucking world, this wonderful energetic world, I was like, oh my god, I actually can't be a nurse anymore in the way that society labels me to be a nurse. And I was like, oh my God. And Maria was like, holy fuck, you're right. We both left without having like a plan in a sense, but we just knew that we had to connect internally and it changed our reality.
Yep. Yeah. When Sam and I were just talking, like what I realized when she was expressing this to me, I'm like, you're right. Because I remember thinking before I had this epiphany that it was time for me to leave my job, right? Because it just wasn't serving what I wanted to serve, right? And before I had that epiphany, I was like, oh, this is so cool. I can be a nurse and then I'll do like my medium shaman stuff like on the side. And I'll tell you, one of my former mentors early on this path, loved them to death, but planted a very limiting belief seed for me. And it's something that has been planted for all of us, especially as kids, right? But basically, when I first started diving into this work, I was told, like, oh, yeah, like this is a great little side gig for you, but like, don't ever think like it's ever going to pay the bills because it'll never pay the bills. And I remember believing that at the time and going, well, that's okay. I'm a nurse. I remember coming home being like, I don't need it to pay my bills. Like, I'm a nurse. Like, I'm set for life, right?
Yeah.
As everybody will tell us. You guys are set for life. You'll always have a job, everything you just said. And so I remember thinking like, well, this is cool. Like I don't want to do it as a full-time job. Like I'm doing this for me to like connect with my spirit and blah blah blah, right? Like Sam said, there wasn't any part of me at that time in the journey that thought I would own a business doing this work. So I was like, cool. And I didn't see it as a limiting belief. I saw it as rational, logical advice because that's what
Yes.
it was. And
Hmm.
that's what that person had experienced in their journey. So that was true to them and true to a lot of people. But think back to when you were a kid and like when things excited you, like, and you could potentially see yourself doing that thing as your career, right? But how many people probably told you, like, that's not going to pay the bills. You know, you have to go to school and get a degree. Oh, you could do that as a side gig. And all those limitations start so young for us. And so when that
Or
seed was
that's not successful. You're not going to make money.
boom,
That won't pay the bills. Like
boom.
artists and creatives, like that's no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
E- Even athletes. Oh, what do you think you're going to be a professional athlete? Like
right. Exactly.
all of those words.
Yep. And it's all so all it takes is one seed of doubt to be planted for us as humans. And let me tell you, we grab on and then that seed grows and it becomes a tree of limitation, really.
Yeah.
And so when Sam and I were talking about this, I was like, oh my God, I remember having this whole thought process of like, well, I can do it all, right? I'm multidimensional. I'll be a nurse, I'll be a medium and a shaman. But I also didn't fully understand energy in the sense of what that actually meant. So being a nurse drained the fuck out of my energy. It took a shit ton of my energy because I was in a system that was suffocating us, right? And not really serving humanity in a way that I think is serving humanity. And so energetically, there's no way I could have walked in both worlds. I couldn't have. Like it just would not have been beneficial for me or anybody in my orbit, right? But I also realized I was giving mixed signals to the universe by saying, well, I'm going to stay in this safe job that pays the bills while I dabble in what I actually am really passionate about until maybe that'll start making me some money, right? Because there's a belief in me that if we're actually serving from passion and from our heart, how can it not be successful? But the physical world hasn't caught up with me in that sense yet that it's validating that. So I'm going to hold on to my old job and my old identity because it's safe. It's what I know. It's familiar. And then I'm also going to do this. And then it was like eventually my higher self was like, no,
Dude,
you're going to choose the path that excites you, that fuels your energy, that doesn't drain your energy. And so you're going to step away from your identity as a nurse in the way that the system and society sees a nurse, but you're always going to embody nurse, Maria. Like that's part of it is part of who you are, but the job is not who you are.
my God, like, so I think you know this about me. I was a bartender before. Okay.
Mhm.
So I, after high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I went to fashion design school. I went to Johnson Wales, not knocking the school, but I didn't like the business aspect. So I was like, what do I do? I need to make cash because my parents are going to be disappointed. So I became a bartender. And so that became an identity of mine until I graduated nursing school. And I remember I was working at Tavern in the Square in Boston. And I remember standing there, and all of these people are just like getting drunk after work and like, you know, on whatever those dating apps, and even though they have a wife at home. And I just remember like standing there, and this is coming in so loud right now when you're talking. And I'm just like, wait, I'm a nurse now, and I take care of patients who have real fucking problems. These people are sitting here causing their own problems and wanting sympathy from me. I'm like, I can't be in this. And then I remember going home being like, but the money is so good and it's fast cash and this and what I'm getting as a CNA and like and now as a nurse, I'm like, oh, there's so much money coming out in taxes. Da, da, da. So I was so clung to that like bartending identity. And so I started going and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm only doing it for the money. So I was no longer in it. And because I didn't choose to leave it myself on my own, they fired me because I had colored my hair, even though I was a bartender. And
What?
I was, yeah, I dyed my hair red. My first time dyeing my hair red in the back. And he was like, you can't have your hair that color. So I bought a fucking uh wig extension thing, and I put it over the red. And every he would come over and be like, I see the red. And I was like, then fucking fire me then. Like I've built your business,
Oh
fucking
my
fire me then.
God.
But it was the universe being like, Sam, you
Yes.
know you don't want to be in this. So
Yep.
what ended up happening? I got fired. Now,
Don't you
because
love
I
it?
because I wanted to be myself. And I
Yep.
was like, I'm not gonna not dye my it's so stupid. It has nothing in the rule book for that. So then so that was was I still working? Yeah, I was um so then I was working as a CNA, right? Like no, I started my nursing job while I was still bartending. And I remember being like, oh, I want to take care of everybody and I don't trust other people to take care of them because I was working in like a rehab dementia floor. And I was nervous to apply for my oncology position because a part of me didn't think that I could get it. And because you're taught you have to work your way up.
Yep.
So it's like, and I didn't get the first nursing job I wanted. I didn't even really wanted it because it was on the cardiac floor and I actually didn't like cardiac. But I remember applying and I was like, I'll get it because I work here. And I didn't get it. So I went and got this other job, which actually taught me that I can like MacGyver the shit out of things. That it actually like taught me like I am super fucking intuitive. Like, oh my God, but I didn't know that's what it was teaching me at the time. And then I get the oncology job and I was working both jobs. And I was like, oh, I can't leave the rehab. Like I have an identity there. Everyone looks up to me and they love me and da da da. And so that's when I started, when like 2.5 years into working in oncology and I was dying, I was like, oh my God, now what? I don't have an exit plan. Like this is my plan. This was my dream job and I have it. This is what I became a bartender for. And I'm not happy. So it must be me, right?
Mhm.
So rather than me like I fucking hate my job and all that, I learned what do I like so I can have energy for this job. So I'm not looking around and being like the other nurses that I saw that fucking hate their job.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, like thank you for being a mirror, right? But now
Yep.
there's so many people out there that hate their fucking job. They don't know what they like to do. And when you ask them, what is something that excites you? What's something that brings you joy? They're like, "Oh, I like flowers or I like horses or I like this." Cool. Go do something with that. I guarantee you can make money with it. And people are like, "No,
Yeah.
no you can't. No, no you can't."
Yep.
Yeah, you fucking can. You're attached to the identity that makes you miserable.
Yep. 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 Yeah. And it's like if people understood truly the energy behind like money, like currency, and that it's all a reflection of value and worth of self. Like if they could actually see it from that lens, I feel like a lot more people would understand like what we're saying and actually recognize like, oh my God, yeah, it is scary as fuck to step into something I don't fully know what I'm doing, and that a million naysayers have put doubt into my mind. But like, there's something in me that like, there's this fire, there's the spark that no matter what anybody says, like, I still keep feeling it, right? And follow that. Because the other thing I'll say too, like, with all the clients that Sam and I work with, the two big things that people I find themselves stuck in and miserable are their job and their relationship with whether it's their spouse or their boyfriend, girlfriend. Like those are the two top things that people are stuck in. Um, and again, I get that because both of those things were things I was stuck in. But when I realized it was my identity that I was most attached to, that was very shifting for me because it was like logically when I would like look outside of what I was in, because understand I was like walking this very like kind of conscious path while still choosing to stay in environments that weren't feeding that path, right? And it was confusing to me because like I kind of knew I was doing this. And it's like, why am I staying in this when I know it's not serving my highest path anymore? It did up to a certain point, but it's not anymore. So why, other than the fact that I'm afraid of the unknown, like we know that that's everybody's fear, but it's like, why? And it's like, because it's not even your husband that you're attached to. Here's the wild part. It's the you created to be with your husband that you're attached to.
I've never heard you say that, but my body
Oh,
is like sweat chills right now. Wow.
oh, where
Yeah.
did
Wow. Higher self mic drop.
like wait, what?
You guys, real time channeling right there.
Real time epiphanies. But it's like, fuck. Like, yeah. And after now being physically separated from him for 2 years, I can see that. It's the Maria that created the versions of herself to stay in that marriage, to stay in that environment. It was the nurse, Maria, that created herself to stay in that environment that was afraid to leave it because if I'm not that, then who the fuck am I? And what do I actually have for this world to offer?
Mm-hmm.
And what I can tell you, people, is when you release the identity, you thank it, you honor it as an aspect of you. But when you release your attachment to the identity, there's literally nothing you can't do. Really.
Yeah, because that identity it evolves because of protecting you from something. It
Yep.
evolves to help you survive in situations.
Yep.
And when you can actually like zoom out and fucking see that and you're like, "Whoa, that's your choice point." It's like, do I
Yes.
want to stay there? That's false comfort, or do I want to step into this unknown possible really great comfort, or maybe it's also discomfort, but at least it's not false comfort
Right.
that I've been in,
Yep.
right? And that's with like any relationship, even if it's with fucking food, right? Or
Yes.
advice or anything. It's not just work or a relationship with another human being.
Right.
That's your choice point. When you feel constriction in whatever it is, it's like, why? Why am I feeling? And I had one yesterday and it was about offers in the business. And I was like, oh my God. And I stepped back, I zoomed out, and I was like, oh my God, because it doesn't excite me anymore. Oh my fucking God.
Mm,
So I have
mm.
a choice point, but there's still a part of me that's like, but that's how I started the business by doing that. That's how I made my money to pay my bills by doing that. So I'm in a new identity, but it's expansive and it's because like when you can actually see your choice points and know that you're the creator of your fucking reality, you are the main player. You're like, well, if I feel tension here, then I know that that's not aligned with me. So there's something else that's more expansive that is. And I'm open to it, baby. So bring it. And guess what? Your higher self, the universe, top players
We'll
of the
bring it.
game, bring it to you. They bring it to
Exactly.
you.
They do. In pretty quick to like the second you release an attachment to anything, there's this energetic portal, literally, that fucking opens. And that's what when people refer to quantum leaps, that's what a quantum leap is. It's when you have a choice point and you are now consciously aware of how you did it in the past, why you did it that way in the past, and you say no more and you choose this whole new way of doing things. That's when you quantum leap into a new reality. It doesn't just, again, these things don't just happen to us. Like there is an action that we need to be taking for these things to come into our reality. Like all of these things are potentials for all of us, but again, this is why Sam and I teach the feminine and masculine energy, not from male, female, but from be or doer, giver, receiver. Like, what is the energy behind those consciousnesses, right? It's like, and the masculine energy, which is what I'm definitely stepping a lot more into these last 2 years after I left my male, right? Like I had to step into my masculine energy because I allowed myself to be in a very codependent relationship where the male did everything, but to the point where I became helpless, right? And so when I moved out of that environment, I was very aware of that. And I was very intentional about I need to become more independent. I need to learn how to do all these things on my own. That was because it was robbed of me. Because even when I wanted to learn that from my ex, there it was not received and welcomed. And so it's not that I wanted to become helpless. I sure the fuck didn't. And I was very angry when I got out of that relationship that that's where I felt like I was at. But it's again, it's this masculine energy that puts into action, implements everything that we're talking about that we intuitively get in meditations. And then that's when we make the quantum leaps. We actually implement what our feminine higher self aspect is saying, hey, think about doing this, like step into the unknown. Because I can tell you, I have no idea what's coming next for where I live. No idea. I'm fully in the unknown with that and fully surrendered to it and not afraid. Like I'm trusting because again, I know that I trust my intuition and I trust my heart. And just like I tell all my coaching clients, like if you listen to that and follow that, and follow your passion, you can't not be successful. It's
And
just
it
how
doesn't
energy
matter.
works.
And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't matter what anyone else says.
Nope.
And
Nope.
like this epiphany came in because it's like the body, it's a vessel, right? Our emotions are energy in motion. And when we suppress emotions over and over and over and over again, the body gets inflamed and constricted, and then a disease process happens. So the body is doing its balance of feminine and masculine. Like, hey, you're not paying attention to your emotions. You're not paying attention to what's coming up for you. You're not paying attention to these subtle signals. So we're going to make it real fucking loud
Yep.
where like something happens in your physical body. And that's an example because a lot of people face we both have intense health challenges because we didn't listen. We weren't in the being, right? So our body was like, well, we're gonna fucking do it for you. So you, right? And that's what we're trying to explain is like with nursing, I knew what lit me up and it was no longer nursing, even though that wasn't my intention when I first started to learn about myself.
Yep.
And I was nervous, and I'll admit it, to actually make that step to leave nursing. So it was like Spirit was like, well, we're going to make sure that your religious exemption doesn't get approved. So you do have to leave your job. Because it was like my higher self knew I didn't have the balls enough to do it yet. And so like it needed to happen.
Yep.
So the universe was like, here's the masculine side, do it. Now you got to go do everything you've learned. And I'm like, well, guess I fucking have no choice. But it was the most brilliant, genius, orchestrated way my higher self could have done it.
Right?
Because it's the most powerful, it's one of the most powerful stories I have that I also bring that version of me forward that was afraid. I also bring the version of me that signed up for the coaching to learn everything to, if I did get fired, to keep on moving. Like I bring all of those still with me because that's why when we're afraid of following our passion and like endurership of the being, it doesn't sustain if we still are if we're not giving credit to the part of us before we just change our identity again. We have to bring that version forward. Like he is still very lovable and amazing and is a genius, just in a new capacity now.
Boom. And that's like what an ego death is. And I feel like that's why people have a misconception of like, like trying to kill off the ego. There's no killing off the ego. The ego is part of the human form. It's a beautiful aspect of us. It is the logical mind. Like we need it to be in this game. So it's respect to the ego. Don't kill off. Respect the ego is what's coming in. It's respect it. So when you respect it, it doesn't control you. And just like Sam's saying, when we have ego deaths, we still bring those versions of ourselves forward with us. Like, thank God for those versions of ourselves, because I wouldn't have the understanding of myself now if those versions didn't exist. Because just like Sam's kind of rude awakening with the system and like her job, it was the same thing with me and my marriage. It was like I'm making all these positive, healthy changes, but still choosing to stay in a super wounded environment. And so higher self was like, all right, we're going to make the energy in your environment get so loud to the point where you're actually not safe. So you've done enough work on yourself that you love yourself enough at this point, you won't stay in that. And I didn't because it was like not good at all. Not at all. And it hadn't been good up to that point, but it was really not good those last 2.5 months to the point where, just like Sam saying, there was no turning back. Higher self had hijacked my body and was like, oh no, honey. No, like you're exiting stage left now and you're not looking back. And I haven't. There's not been, I can honestly say, and I don't know if you can say the same with nursing, but you probably can. Like, I don't have one regret and I've never looked back.
Nope.
That's a
No, because
fucking powerful place to be. I don't regret anything either. But it's
yeah.
like to like I guess I never second guessed it because it's like once you make that quantum leap, you're in that new version of yourself, you're in that new reality. There's no second guessing. There is none. Like it just doesn't happen. I don't know how else to describe it other than like that.
And people think that when we grieve, when we allow our body to come up and grief comes up, like sadness about the said thing, like either the job or the relationship or whatever that we've left, that means, ooh, I need to be with them still. It's like, no, 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 that's your body processing because now you're safe, you're out, exit stage left, you're out of it. So now you can process it. It doesn't mean you need to go back into that. That's not what that's don't skew the
Mm,
fucking messages here.
exactly.
Don't skew
That's
the
your
message.
exactly. That's what it's literally your body processing the shift. So give yourself the gift and allow the shift. Or like literally. Because I was just on a beautiful vacation for 10 days with my boyfriend and his family, and I didn't realize that being in family energy that resembles like in-law energy would be triggering for me. But hello, I just lost my mother-in-law a little over 2 years ago. I haven't been in that kind of energy now in a few years. And so it brought up a lot of fucking grief for me on this trip. And I cried a lot about Ed and like even missing him. Like there was all of that that came up, but there's still no desire to go back to it, like at all. And I just allowed myself to feel it for as long as I needed to, and it moved through me. And will it hit me again? Of course it will. It comes in waves. And it comes usually when you have no, like when you least expect it. And it's like, oh, this is happening now. Okay, I'm going to die in front of all of these people on the earth again. All right, here we go. But it's like, this is how I roll. This is how I do it. But it's not us going backwards. Us feeling the shit is us actually moving forward.
Mhm.
But I have no desire to go back to that relationship, to be with my ex. But yeah, of course I fucking still miss him and I'm still gonna grieve. I was with him half of my lifetime. So it's being able to honor that. But like Sam's saying, don't get the messages confused when you start to feel those things like, oh, maybe I'm supposed to. No, no, no. You're supposed to just feel the feels. And the more you allow yourself to do that, the less it controls you and it moves through you so much fucking faster. I mean, I used to spend
And
like days, weeks, like
yeah,
grieving over him. And now I'm like, all right, it moves through me sometimes in like a couple minutes. And I'm like, and it will be very intense, like almost like I'm losing Ed for the first time. But I feel like that all just happened so I could come to the realization today on this call that it's actually not even Ed, it's Maria.
thank you. I was just gonna say it, but higher yourself is like she got it. She got it. She's going there.
Yep,
She's grieving the identity she created while she was in that relationship that is linked to Ed.
yep,
And you're actually not, so you don't miss him.
correct.
You miss the exchange that benefited that identity you created. And that was beautiful that you created that identity to try and make something work for as long as you did until it no longer worked. And now you're learning to bring that version of you into a new layer of safety and be like, now this works too right now. So let's enjoy this. And we're in a different environment with all different people. So it's like you're grieving the Maria, the
It
layer of
was.
Maria.
Dude, that makes so much sense because there were behaviors of mine that were creeping up that old me did in my wounded marriage, and I wanted to operate from them. How else to describe? But I had the awareness of it while it was happening, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
I can see you like you're looking at your player in the game. And you're like, no, no, don't do that.
don't do it, don't
Don't
do
do it.
it.
Ah, she did it. She did it. Okay, what's gonna happen? All right, default X, Control, Alt, Delete, Copy, Paste, Escape, Escape.
I love
Shift.
that you fully understand exactly what I experienced because I'm like, oh my God. an old, like I can see my old Maria coming up right now, and she wants to be old Maria so fucking bad. And like, but she's gonna sabotage this situation right now. And she goes back into old.
This is not going to
It's
be
like I'm having
good.
like an internal temper tantrum with Maria's.
Yup.
Yeah, yeah. So wow, this trip again was all about me dying again, but more about like just having the realization that it's the old me I'm attached to, the old me, Maria and Ed.
Yep.
And now I've
Yep.
created a new me.
Yep.
Great. Love it. 4.0.
Yep. 44. 44.
Four, four,
Dharma.
four. Yeah. So identities are a thing, people. They're a thing.
Literally like, all right, Claude AI, how do we get out of this situation? I just self-sabotage by letting my old self come forward. What do I do? You're fucked. Well,
Tone down, old self. Tone it down. I'm like, I don't want to right now. I want
it is
this.
funny though when you like notice that shit, like it's actually really fucking cool though.
It
It's
is. It
uncomfortable,
is.
but it's really cool because you're
It,
like,
it
whoa.
is.
And I love when like so today there was this thing, I'm not gonna give details right now, but I was like, oh, a comment came out and I was like, oh, human Sam is online. And I was like, ooh, I'm just gonna let her come out for a little bit right now. And she was like, that's so fucked up. And I was like, all right, let's reel her back in. Didn't hurt anybody. We're good. Didn't hurt self. She needed to express because there was a wrongdoing and human Sam was upset about it. And this is
Right?
how high school human Sam would have fucking reacted because that's how people reacted in high school. Is how that person reacted. So, and then I was just like, isn't that so cool? And then I was back to me and I was like, cool, I needed that release. But I was like, wow, look at all of the Sams. Like, there's so many of me.
Right? So why do we get so attached to one version of us? It's wild.
Like,
It's like,
it's so
wait, I
much,
know I'm fucking multidimensional. So what am I still doing getting attached to identities?
right?
Oh yeah, part of the programming. Yeah. Yeah.
Last, so, um, 2 weeks ago, because tomorrow will be a week since I came back from Florida. So a week before that, before I left, so on the 22nd, March 22nd, um, I I smashed my foot, right? Like really bad, like
Mm-hmm.
fractured my little bones in my foot. And Matt came over and he held my foot like around it. I think he held it, but he whatever. And I sat right here on this couch. And I just started like breathing into it, calling in energy, and I kept moving my toes as much as they fucking hurt, but and then I started hitting my heart and I could imagine the blood coming from my heart going down my leg into it because everything in me wanted to just hold it and like curl like this and wrap it up and
Mm-hmm.
fucking cry. But instead I cried and I ugly cried and I screamed and I imagined the blood and the cells and the DNA and just like whatever going to my foot. And as I did that in real time, I like saw multiple versions of me standing in this room looking at me, like doing it.
Doing energy work.
Yeah. And all of these versions of me had traumas that happened to the right side of my body, which is, it was my right foot. And I was like, what's up, guys? This is fucking weird. And, but I'm like in it, like connecting to my foot. And then after Matt was like, so like on a scale of 1 to 10, like what's your pain? And I was like, it was like all of Sam's came in. And I was like, well, see, so it's different. So when I had this nerve pain that happened from a tree landing on my face in like when I was in high school, and then this one when the dog bit me in the right side of my face on my eye, that's a different pain. And then I just started going in, and then I had ovarian cysts on my right side, that's a different pain. Then my cancer pain, then and he's just like, I was like, so I can't actually give you a number right now because all of my traumas that's happened, physical blunts of forced energy that has happened to my body on the right side is actively coming up. And he's like, why? And I was like, so I can stand on my right foot in my new divine masculine energy. Because all of these are identities I've identified with. And this needed to happen before this trip. Because on this trip, all I did was receive. All I did was receive from the earth. Like, and this is coming in right now of
Yep.
the powerful impact that was because you were in Mexico at the same fucking time.
Yep.
And we're learning to step more into our divine masculine doership because we have all of this wisdom. And holy fuck, this is wild. So, anyways,
Right.
so he was just like, so you don't know your pain level? I'm like, I can't, like, because it's a different pain. Because it's like, this is, yes, it was a blunt force. My bones fucking hurt. My foot is blown up. It's scary looking. But that's not what's happening. I am releasing all of the suppressed emotions when all of the traumas happened before. So I can stand in my fucking power.
In your
He's like,
power.
oh. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. Oh. And when we got to the beach, I just put my feet right into the sand and right into the ocean. I was like, heal me. And it did. And people were like, you should have been in a cast. I'm like, but it was all of my identities that developed from
Dude.
traumas.
I
Fucking
love
love
how you answer the questions when you when your partner asks you basically the same way I do. It's like God bless our partners because
it.
we can't give a linear answer
No.
to usually linear questions. Because same kind of thing. It was like, well, what are you feeling? I'm like, dude, I'm like every emotion in the handbook and then some, all at once. So I wouldn't even know how to tell you what I'm feeling other than I'm feeling everything right now. And I want to crawl
Everything.
out of my fucking skin.
Well, is it anger? Is it
Right,
sadness?
right. It's all
It's everything.
of it. And none of it. It's like talk about bipolar, right? But like, and I've said this in other videos, but as a nurse in the system, we're taught all of these mental illnesses. But like, I believe us all to be, how are you not bipolar? We live in a polarity. So I actually feel more bipolar in my life now than ever because I literally allow myself to experience both polarities so intensely. It's the yin yang we talk about, right? So it's like to me, like, yeah, I'm bipolar. Like we live in a bipolar um, reality. So those of us that really allow ourselves to feel both ends of the spectrum, it's not a bad thing that we're bipolar. Like don't again, identities, labels, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's and the medical system is full of them. I mean, basically every disease they label us with becomes a very limiting, disempowering belief to embody because then that's usually how we get sicker
And
because
then
we're like,
we
oh,
attach to that
yep, because we
identity.
attach to it.
We identify
So,
with it. Mm-hmm.
yep.
Like if I could have been because Matt's face when he saw him because I was like, what does it look like? He took off my sock and he was like, oh. And I just saw his face and I was like, I'm not gonna look at my foot. Nope, not gonna look. And then I was like, well, I can't do that because then this is going to affect my entire trip. And so he was like, you don't want to like I don't like what should we do? Like, that I want to put it like, and I was like, I'm just gonna be with it because I'm not gonna identify that it's broken. I'm not gonna identify to it and attach myself to what I know is active right now because I have the awareness that this is happening for a reason. So
Yep.
what is it?
Yep.
What is this to teach me or what is this to release within me so I can enjoy this fucking vacation because there's a reason why this happened. And Maria, I fucking knew that thing that fell on my foot since I moved in here and I put it up there. I was like, that's gonna fall on my foot one day. And it did. It fucking did.
Right before you leave for vacay.
Right before I leave for
All in
vacation.
divine timing. That's how we roll.
I was like, huh, of course, right now.
But I love what you just said too. Because there's like what you just described was not bypassing, right? And I think that there's sometimes a little bit of confusion with like attaching and not attaching to things and actually bypassing, right? Like because you're embodied, It's not like you were denying that your foot was injured. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's some people that take this kind of concept and run with it. And when their body's telling them that they're sick, they're like, nope, I'm not gonna. And it's like, no, 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 no. That's now you bypassing
Mm.
what your body's actually telling you.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge it. But what you just described is you were very aware of what was happening, but you weren't going to attach to the trauma of it because you knew that there was medicine and messages and reason for it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love
That
that.
just came
Oh,
in really
yeah,
like powerfully
that's
because
true
I find
because
that a lot with
Mhm.
people like
Yeah.
that are like, it's almost like a fear now to say that they're sick. And it's like, but your body is purging right now. So, like, I choose not to use the words I'm sick. I'm releasing illness. I'm purging, right? But I'm not denying the fact of what the fuck my body is going through. I'm not bypassing it. I'm not overriding the messages that are coming through in my body because now I think that if I have an attachment to it, if I acknowledge it, then I'm creating it. And it's like, no, bypassing something is also creating things too, because you're not paying attention to energetically what's actually happening in your body. Wow, this is powerful shit coming in right now.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I didn't bypass.
No,
I mean, I don't usually bypass anyways,
no,
but
no.
you're right. That was an embodied, and that's why when you start embodying your own medicine, or you just have the awareness of something and you go into the doership with the awareness, you like, how do I say this? It's not even a second thought of let me stay in this pain. It's like, okay, how can I move with this pain? How can I embrace this
Yes.
pain?
You
How
just
can I
said a
love this pain?
powerful word. I have to just highlight. You said with.
Mm,
You said, how do I move with this pain? Dude, that is so potent because what do most people come to us for? I want to get rid of this pain. I need to get rid of this pain. And it's like,
hmm
whoa, whoa, whoa. Pain has purpose. Pain's here to teach you something. So what you just said, you have learned how to move with the pain. That's
hmm
fucking powerful shit, people. Pay the fuck attention to this shit because it's like so powerfully coming in right now. I can like feel it. But yeah, moving with the pain is not resisting it. It's not denying it. It's not suppressing it. It's saying, fuck, I really fucking hate this pain right now. It fucking hurts. Like, acknowledge it. Fucking whine about it. Bitch about it. But also work with it.
Yep. Yep. Because what came up in one of the pain scales when he was asking me my pain number was when I first got my oncology nursing job, I was off orientation and literally it was my first or second shift by myself and I had ovarian cysts erupting. And if you're a girl, you know how those feel. They're fucking painful, like a kidney stone, but in the front. And I was like, oh yeah. I was nauseous. I was sweating. But I was like, nope, gotta push through. Can't let anybody know because I just started here. Nope. So I'm walking around with hot packs in my scrubs there. I'm like crunching. I'm taking like ibuprofen up the yin yang, chugging, taking Adderall and Red Bull because I'm in so much pain. I'm so fatigued. I'm like, oh my God. For 13 hours, I worked. And of course, I didn't get out right at, 7:30. And after that, I was like out for a few days. But that came up when the foot thing came up because it was on the right side of my body and I pushed past it and I was like, nope, gotta show it for everyone else but myself. And what's wild is now that I'm saying this morning I was stretching and I moved and on the right side of my body I was like, oh, and Matt was like, what's wrong? I was like, oh, it's probably an ovarian cyst. And he's like, I just saw you stretch. And I was like, oh, wait. And I breathed and I was reminded of that day still because it's still processing. Your body still
Yep.
processes. But I was like, when you're saying that, that is an example. I bypassed my fucking pain. I didn't tell anybody about it. I was like, I'm fine. They're like, you don't look fine. I'm like, I'm fine. Keep on going.
Mhm.
Because everyone's sicker than me because they're in the hospital. They have cancer. I don't matter. And that night last week, 2 weeks ago, I was like, I fucking matter right now because I'm going on this trip and I love myself and this pain is happening for a reason. So let me love this pain. Let me acknowledge this pain. And that's what the cancer taught me.
Yep.
Let me acknowledge everything my body is serving me because that's what it's doing. It's in service to me and I'm in service to it.
Boom.
I'm a
Boom.
steward of my body.
Yep.
So,
I love it. Hell yeah. Well, I think this was a good little divine meeting of the
yep,
minds and hearts and souls on 4/4. And I know you have a date night, so I don't want to take
I
any
do.
more of your time.
I
But
do.
this was awesome. So thank you guys for listening. We'll probably make a couple little video shorts with all the juicy tidbits that came in, but to kind of just highlight the top things. Identities are a real thing. And the less you attach to them and just allow yourself to embody kind of all of them and take them with you on your journey, the more whole you're going to feel. And I feel like you'll start to be more aware of like what you are passionate about, because I think that's a hard thing for people. Like when I ask people what they want, most of them don't know. So I love this whole what excites you kind of instead of asking people what they want, because I feel like it's still, what people want is still a great question, but there's a resistance that happens, and that's going to happen with excitement too. But I just feel like it's a different way to activate the body by asking it, what excites you? What excited you when you were a kid? If nothing excites you now, can you take yourself back to when you were 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years old? Something, even if you had a very traumatic childhood, there has to be something that lit you up, right? And so what excites you, people? Because that's what's gonna light up your soul, your spirit, your heart, and it's gonna help people start stepping out of things that they feel stuck in.
And when you ask somebody what they want, a lot of people say, I don't know. Or they'll be like, oh, I want a beautiful relationship. Oh, I want money. Oh, I want this. But at the end of the day, that's usually when you go into the body, that's not what you want.
Right. It's the
That's
programs
what
we
your mind and ego and thoughts are trying to tell you. That's what you want. 'Cause that's what you think that's what you want. But your body
Yep.
knows what you want. And in our remembrance portal, which we just launched this month, we support you and we come on live, kind of like this, even though this isn't live. Um, and we bring you your shadow and light. We give you tools and tips to come out of uncomfortable situations or tension or being able to soar in expansion and knowing that shadow and light are both needed for balance and harmony. And it's a beautiful space. So we'll drop the link underneath this video. But we love you guys and continue being yourself and acknowledging your human and your vessel and your spirit.
Mm-hmm. Love
Love
ya.
you.
See you on the other side.
Peace.